The private dining room shimmered under golden chandeliers when I handed my wife, Lauren, her birthday gift. A velvet box, simple, meaningful, chosen carefully. She smiled, but it felt rehearsed. Then she leaned closer and whispered, almost casually, "You should leave, my ex is here tonight." At first, I thought it was a joke. Then I saw him across the room, Mark, seated comfortably at a table arranged too perfectly to be spontaneous. Laughter drifted from their direction like I was already excluded. Conversation softened as nearby guests sensed tension. I stood there for a second longer than pride allows. Then I placed the gift gently beside her plate, nodded once, and walked out without defending myself. The drive home through downtown Chicago felt surreal, like I was exiting someone else's story. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I let silence grow between us. In the weeks that followed, patterns began aligning in ways they never had before. Late meetings, shared travel cities, payments from our joint account I never approved. I didn't confront her because anger clouds judgment. Instead, I observed quietly. I reviewed statements, archived emails, and confirmed dates. The more I uncovered, the clearer it became that this wasn't nostalgia between old lovers. It was coordination. Intentional. Structured. And hidden beneath the comfort of my trust. That night at dinner stopped being humiliation. It became motivation. Months passed before I learned something unexpected. Mark wasn't just reconnecting romantically. He was entangled financially. Through a mutual contact in his firm, I discovered irregular transfers tied to shell vendors. Lauren's name appeared subtly within contracts she claimed were unrelated to business. It wasn't illegal at first glance, just questionable. But questionable becomes dangerous when repeated often enough. I compiled everything carefully. Not to threaten. Not to explode publicly. But to understand the full truth. During that time, she barely noticed my emotional distance. She assumed I was still hurt, maybe insecure. What she didn't realize was that clarity had replaced emotion entirely. I was no longer reacting. I was preparing. The invitation arrived unexpectedly. Another celebration dinner, same restaurant, this time honoring Lauren's professional milestone. Mark would attend. Investors would be present. The setting felt familiar, almost symbolic. I accepted quietly. When I entered the room months later, conversations paused briefly. Lauren looked surprised but composed. Mark offered a stiff nod. I waited patiently through appetizers and speeches. When dessert arrived, I stood and approached their table with a thin folder in my hand. Calmly, I placed it beside her wine glass. "Before tonight continues," I said evenly, "there's something the board requested I share." Her smile faltered. Mark's posture tightened instantly. Inside the folder were documented financial discrepancies, signed copies, transaction logs, and communication records linking both of them directly. No accusations. Just structured evidence. I stepped back and allowed silence to unfold naturally. Investors leaned closer. One excused himself to make a call. Mark attempted to dismiss it as misunderstanding, but confidence no longer supported his voice. Lauren's hands trembled slightly as she flipped through pages she clearly recognized. The atmosphere shifted from celebratory to clinical within minutes. No shouting erupted. No dramatic confrontation followed. Just realization spreading across faces as the weight of facts settled heavily over the room. When I finally spoke again, my voice remained steady. "You asked me to leave that night," I reminded her quietly. "So I stepped away and looked at everything clearly." I picked up the unopened birthday gift from months ago and placed it back in front of her. "It was forgiveness," I added. "But forgiveness requires honesty." Security entered discreetly after receiving confirmation from corporate counsel. Mark was escorted out first. Lauren remained seated, speechless, surrounded by people who now saw her differently. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't celebrate. I simply walked out once more. Only this time, I wasn't leaving in humiliation. I was leaving after the truth had spoken for me.